YouTube, what's going on, baby? TwoToneSports here. We're going to keep it rolling on NFL offseason moves. Going to hit some mock drafts soon, reviews soon. I'm going to mix all this content in. So, with that being said, this is Pro Football Network's 2023 NFL free agency predictions. All right? This was released, and let me tell you, these are some really, really cool predictions. I'm going to go over why I think I could see it happening, why I couldn't see them happening, and I'm going to give my thoughts on it. I'm going to give a little reaction to this, all right? So, with that being said, please like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell notification. Showing love is free on YouTube. Thank you for watching. As always, thanks for clicking on. Let's get into it. All right, the first one, we got the Arizona Cardinals signing guard Ben Powers, okay? The Cardinals appear to set to take a step back this offseason, okay? With a new general manager. Let me try to get rid of this here. And let's get rid of that there. My apologies. With a new general manager. Okay, so we get rid of that and that comes there. All right, that's nice. With a new general manager and head coach in place and Murray not expected to be ready for the start of the regular season. I wouldn't expect Arizona to invest heavily in external free agents. Still, the Cards desperately need to accomplish two goals in the coming weeks: fix their line and get younger. Signing the 27-year-old guard would help both. I like this, and he has spent the past 4 seasons blocking for another mobile QB in Lamar Jackson. Arizona has plenty of other needs, but adding a player like Powers could help the club set a baseline up front. I like it. I like it. I think it should happen. I think it'll be a great move for them, especially if they get it for cheap. Whoa! Was not expecting this at number 2. Holy bejeeby. Okay, Atlanta Falcons trade for QB Lamar Jackson. I haven't read through this. That threw me off a little bit. I was expecting to ease into this one, but Pro Football Network making sure I got my seatbelt on here. All right. Um, wow. Okay. The Falcons are set up better than any NFL team to make a play for Lamar. Gosh, these pop-ups.
Hyundai Tucson versus
These pop-ups are rough. Okay, Falcons are set up better than any team in the NFL to make a play for Lamar. They entered the offseason with the second most cap in the league. The Bears have the most. Can offer, come on, the 8th overall section this year, plus much, much more, and need a franchise QB. Arthur Smith has already proven he could build an offense around mobile threats like Marcus Mariota and Tannehill, and Jackson is the NFL's most dangerous rushing QB. Atlanta will likely need to sacrifice at least 3 first-round picks and potentially more, but the price tag but that's the price tag for the former MVP at 26 years old. I mean, crazy. We don't know if the Ravens are willing to trade him. The two sides are very, very far on a contract. If Baltimore uses the non exclusive franchise tag to retain Jackson, the Falcons could simply sign him to an offer sheet. Okay? Exclusive tag would require trade talks. I'm going to say this right now. I can see it. I can see it happening. Do I think it's likely? No, because I think that's how desperate the Ravens are for a QB. But I can see it. I can see this as a possibility. Maybe you should check out a mock draft of mine. Moving on. Wow. Ravens go Juju. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be very open about this. I'm not the biggest Juju Smith-Schuster fan. I don't think he's totally into football. I think he needs to focus more on it. And I think he's had a huge drop off in his career since he left Pittsburgh and honestly since he joined TikTok. It's my personal opinion. You can argue with me or not. Okay, so no matter who's under center in Baltimore, the Ravens need at least one more wideout to the equation. Bateman and Duvernay form a solid foundation, but they need more depth. That's a fact. Okay, they definitely need more depth. Um, Ravens made an offer to Juju in 21. They likely have interest in him again. Juju's not a true number one receiver, but he's adept at running routes in the middle of the field and willing blocker. We all know how much Baltimore loves to run the ball, so I genuinely think it would be a pretty good fit. Um, Once again, at the right price. Bills Dalton Risner. Okay. Broncos offensive line. The Broncos offensive line collapsed last season. Dalton Risner was a steady presence, just as he's been for the past 4 years. Buffalo tried to improve its front five by signing left guard Rodgers Saffold in 2022, but at his age, he posted the worst season of his career. What do you expect out of a guy that's 35 years old? Especially in that Buffalo weather, it doesn't really treat you that nice. Okay, Risner's 27. He's physical enough. Um, I think it's a good signing. I really do. He's a good pass pro. Like I said, I have the Bills going Osiris Torrance in some mock drafts. I have the Bills going some linemen in the draft. I think this is a need for them, and I think it's something they should really look into. Panthers get Jacoby Myers. I like this. I think they find their next signal caller in the draft, either by staying at 9 or moving up. The passer will need more options. DJ Moore. I love DJ Moore. Jacoby Myers isn't the most exciting playmaker, but he might be the best wideout available in free agent class that has already been picked apart by extensions. I agree. Or if you're Carolina, if you don't move up, what's wrong with a guy like Marvin Mims in the third? Thought there, if you can sign Jacoby for a pretty minimum deal, I like it. Also, really like this. Chicago has a lot of cap. Okay. Caleb McGarry. Bears may have found the long term left tackle by choosing Braxton Jones in the fifth round of the 2022 draft, but they need help on the right side. Okay. Riley Reef split snaps last offseason with Larry Borum. I could butcher that name, so I apologize. Caleb McGarry was much improved last season, but he was also playing in an Atlanta offense that helped out its offensive line with heavy use of play action. The Bears were the only team in the NFL that ran more play action than the Falcons, so McGarry's limitation in pass pro might not be that glaring in Chicago as they would be in other teams. I think it would be a good fit. Okay, so now here we are. Bengals, Zach Allen. Okay, Bengals could be losing key free agents in the secondary and linebacker. I think they'll use their ample cap space to target additions along the offensive and defensive line. I have them going some defensive backs in a couple of my mock drafts. Um, and Cincinnati can aim to replace right tackle La'el Collins, a candidate for release, but adding a versatile defender like Zach Allen would also be on the docket. DJ Reader and Hill were excellent for the Bengals last season, but they need a third interior defender. I think this is a good move. I think this next one would be huge for the Browns. It kind of just fits them. It fits like their mentality. Javon Hargrave going to the Browns would be awesome. Put up 11 sacks and 22 with the Eagles. Eagles will not be able to get every single player back. He just turned 30. He could be the first person to move from Philly. I really love it. I think it's a great fit for the Browns. Him and Garrett on the same line. Just be really, really cool. Really good fit. I think it's a need. I think it's a need. Okay. Interesting. Cowboys franchise tag Tony Pollard, franchise tag for running backs is right around 10 mil, making an incredibly enticing option for clubs that want to hold on to a running back without a long-term commitment. Hence why you may see the Giants tag Barkley. Okay? Tony Pollard doesn't have the wear and tear that teams might typically worry about, but a 1 year franchise tender still makes sense for the Cowboys as they look to retain their most dynamic offensive playmaker. If Pollard is back at 10 plus million, Dallas will have to do something about Zeke's 16.72 million cap charge. An outright release would save that would saddle the Cowboys with 11.86 million in dead money. That's not going to happen. Okay, they're going to probably try to get him to accept a pay cut. Broncos getting Jawan Taylor. I really like Jawan Taylor actually. All right, Jawan Taylor, second round pick 2019, only 25. Definition of durable, started all 66 games since being drafted. Taylor still has work to do as a run blocker, but he matured as a pass blocker. I genuinely think whatever team gets him, it will be an underrated signing. There's a lot to be said about starting every single game at tackle. I really, really like it. Broncos need a right tackle. I think it's a great, great signing. Lions getting Bradbury. They need help in their secondary, but at what cost? How much is Bradbury going to cost you? Okay. Jeff Okudah looked like the elite corner. Lions thought that they were getting in the draft after finishing 30 in defensive EPA per dropback in 2022. The now contending Lions can't afford to have a glaring weakness at corner. Bradbury was forced. Bradbury was forced to settle for a 1 year deal last offseason after getting cut in May, but he's probably going to get a multi year deal, earn an all pro berth, and I think the Lions is a great fit for him. This is an interesting one. Packers, Dalton Schultz. I have Packers going tight end in the draft. What are you going to pay Schultz? That's on the table as well. But if you go Schultz, then you don't need to go tight end in the draft, and maybe you can get a receiver. Maybe you can get defensive back, defensive line. Hell, maybe you need to get a QB. We don't know. All right, but we know you need a tight end. I like this. Whether it's Rodgers or Love under center, Packer needs to add more pass catching talent. Watson and Dobbs are a nice start, but Packers have to give their QB more options in the pass game. I like this. Receiver class is not deep. Green Bay could target a tight end like Schultz, who appears likely to leave the Cowboys after playing on a franchise tag in 2022. He's not elite, but he's solid. I think I definitely agree with that, but they just need a solid tight end. Really. Jamel Dean going to Houston. This is interesting. Texans D'Amico Ryan might want to bring some of his former 49ers defenders to Houston, but the Texans will surely be willing to consider any and all free agents as they try to spend nearly 38 million in cap space. Jamel Dean could help Houston build an exciting secondary alongside fellow corner Derek Stingley Jr. and Jalen Petrie. I love, love, love Jalen Petrie. The kid balled out. Okay? Balled out. I think Dean would be a pretty good signing for the Texans. Majority of these signings so far would be pretty good, actually. Colts get a guard here. Isaac Sumalo. Could butcher that one, too. Um, I really like this. No matter who the Colts decide to get behind center, whether it's draft, whether it's free agency, most likely draft, you really need to bolster that offensive line. Um, I don't care who you sign in free agent, as long as it's going to be somebody in that offensive line, it's a good signing. Don't overpay, um, and it's a good signing. Just keep getting depth there if you can, or just keep adding positional value. Just keep adding value to that line, and you can't go wrong, especially for the Colts, especially if you get a new signal caller. I like it. This one's interesting. Evan Ingram franchise tag by the Jags. He proved to be one of the steals of the 2022 free agent period. I agree. Finished third among tight ends receptions, fourth in yardage, and earning just under 9 million. He'll be looking to get probably a few more dollars than that. All right, but if they get him on a franchise tag, it'll be 11.345 million. Doug Peterson knows how to get the most out of his tight ends, and Evan Ingram isn't really much of a blocker. He's more of a receiving tight end. He is speedy. He is hard to cover if you plan some plays around him. Think it could be a good move. But once again, this draft is deep in tight end. Do you want to go younger? Do you not want to lay out the money? Something to think about. Chiefs, Arden Key. Second Super Bowl, 4 years. Chiefs hardly need to make sweeping changes to the roster. While they could stand to add another weapon at wide receiver, it's not going to be. It's going to be in the draft. It's not going to be in free agency. It's not deep. Chiefs use free agency to make small tweaks to its defense. Secondary, large, blah, blah, blah. Arden Key would be a solid rotational pass rusher. I do agree. I think they need to get a little bit deeper in their pass rush. Um, I believe in the Super Bowl there was like no sacks, or maybe one, but it was forced by like QB running short out of bounds. But either way, can't rely on Chris Jones. I do like this. I do like the rotational pieces on defensive line. This is a really cool one. Vegas, Garoppolo, Raiders might try to swing a trade for Rodgers, but if they can't land the future Hall of Famer, Garoppolo can make for an intriguing fallback. I believe this is the move they're going to take, and this is the route they're going to go. I just think it's a better route for them, cheaper route for them. You're going to have to give up a lot for Rodgers, and we don't even know if he's willing to move at this point. We don't know what's going on with Rodgers. Okay? Las Vegas may have had designs of signing Tom Brady, but he retired, as we all know. Garoppolo also has a long history with head coach McDaniels. Even if the Raiders sign Garoppolo, they could still draft a corner or a QB, sorry, with the seventh overall pick and send him behind Garoppolo. I don't think that's a bad idea. I don't think that's a bad idea. Wow, Chargers hitting this list even though they're 20 million cap. Oh, it's on the bottom. Okay, Chargers slightly improved against the run in 2022 after signing Sebastian Joseph Day, Austin Johnson. Austin Johnson got hurt, but there's still more work to be done up front. Given Los Angeles likes to defend the run with light boxes, they need defensive linemen capable of handling gaps. Dalvin Tomlinson is strong enough to do just that. Probably even better as a pass rusher than run defender. 29-year-old commanded 10.5 million annually on his most recent contract with the Vikings and could earn more this time. Rough. I don't know. As a Chargers fan, would I like this? At this point, I'd rather you go toward the draft. All right, if you're gonna do that, trade up in the second, grab like Mozzie Smith. Just let's see. I'd rather you not spend this cap at that position. I know it's necessary, but I don't know. They're also 20 million over the cap, but they have plenty of contracts that can be restructured. Rams trade for Shaq Mason. They don't really have much to trade. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Ram needs to add multiple pieces up front. They could take advantage of what looks like a rebuilding year in Tampa. The Bucks gave up fifth round pick to get Mason. LA can sacrifice a similar selection to grab the 30. If you can offer around a fifth or sixth and get him, then yeah, I agree. But if you're offering more than that, no. Uh, Dolphins get Nate Davis, still only 26. Would represent another step in the right direction for a not good offensive line in Miami. Added two outstanding contributors in left tackle Armstead and Connor Williams. Signing Davis would give Miami another solid option up front. With Tua's injury history, you have to continue really build this offensive line. I apologize for I hit my mic off by accident. with Tua's recent injuries and his health concern, you have to fortify this offensive line realistically if you want to keep your QB alive. This is a really cool pick, the really cool signing for the Vikings with a cap charge of 11.43 million. 31-year-old Eric Hendricks could be in the danger of being released. He probably will be. Um, I do really, really like this pick. Um, they would not create much savings for cutting Jordan Hicks, but there's a non-zero chance that he's gone next season too. I like Jermaine Edmonds. I think would be a good fit. They like those really, really smooth, athletic linebackers. I think he'll fit right in there. Okay, Patriots need some offensive line help. I really like this. Once again, any depth up front any of these teams can make is huge and necessary. Saints getting Derek Carr. I think this is huge. I don't think you necessarily want to give up any draft capital. He's there to be signed, just free agent and cost some money. That's really about it. So go out there, do it. They're 46 million in the red, but they're going to release players, rework players. Cam Jordan, Mike Thomas, the guard. All of it's going to be moved around. It's necessary. Giants are in a weird position. Giants fans. Daniel Jones wants like 45 million a year. Saquon Barkley wants money. In my eyes, what do you do? They want to franchise tag Jones and re-sign Barkley. I think you gotta re-sign Jones for around 30, 35. Find a way to get him down. Put some weird stuff, some weird bonuses in his contract. Sign him for 30, 35 at most. You gotta you gotta get Barkley back too. Um, realistically, Jones is not going to come down. You're probably going to have to franchise tag him and see if you can bargain with Barkley. He probably wants CMC money. Is it fair? Yeah. I mean, you're going to tag Jones for 32 mil. If you could sign him for 35, that's a home run. If you're going to tag him for that, but he's not worth 45 mil. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. Um, running back contracts are always weird. Barkley's annual average salary won't come anywhere close to Jones. Multi-year deal worth 13 to 15 mil with an out after 2 seasons should be fair. I don't see Barkley taking that. He probably wants more like 17 to 20, which is absurd. I think you need Barkley and Jones both to show you another year. Oh, there he is. I was waiting for the name. I was waiting for the name. Jets trade for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers does not have a no trade clause. This is interesting. Do we have what they would give up? Yeah. New York would likely need to sacrifice 2 first-round picks, but Rodgers would instantly make a Jets Super Bowl contender. 100% agree with this. Their defense is there. Their offense is good. Do this and please, please, please do this. He's got weapons. He's got a sick defense. Really cool to watch. I'm from Jersey, so I will attend some Jets games too. Be really cool to watch. All right, so Philadelphia Eagles re-signed Kelsey. He planned on retiring last season, so was he going to do this season? Is he necessary? Yes, he is. Steelers get C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They need help in their secondary. He's a hell of a fit. I mean, if you watch that Super Bowl, the dude came down and laid the wood. Really fits that Steelers mentality. I would love that signing. Same thing with the 49ers getting Jesse Bates. Really, really cool signing if that's the case. Transition tag Gino. I think Gino definitely is going to come back. This one's a little. I mean, it's your budget QB if you want to know the truth. 55 mil plus in the red. Buccaneers have the worst cap situation. Um, oof, rough, 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 rough. Baker's not going to be expensive. Could you go rookie in the draft? Yeah, in the second round. Yeah. Doing a competition between Trask and Mayfield. This is definitely going to be a rebuilding year for Tampa. it's just rough. Okay, once again, Tennessee adding more lumber to that offensive line. I think this is a great move, something they definitely need to do. Commanders getting Byron Murphy. Totally agree with this. They need some help in their secondary. Um, really like that signing. Wow, that brings us to an end of a lengthy list. Some annoying ads popping up in this one. I don't know what revenue they're getting on these ads, but it seems to be after every little thing. But this was Pro Football Network's 2023 NFL free agency predictions. I kind of like them. There's some of them that are a little far out there. You see some QBs moving around. Not a deep at all receiver free agency. Pretty good offensive lineman. Pretty good defensive lineman. Um, a lot of good depth pieces that these teams should honestly look at. I appreciated this Pro Football Network, man. I appreciated the list. So, with that being said, Two Tone Sports here, reacting to the 2023 NFL free agency predictions. Gave my thoughts on it. I liked the majority of them. Some of them, realistically, you never know what's going to happen when it comes to free agency. So, as always, guys, thank you for watching. Showing love is free on YouTube. Hope to see you in the next one.